welcome to our favorites. The epic conclusion of our favorites.
Our top 10s.
Our top 10 favorites. In case you are new here, all of us worked through our top 10 favorite movies.
And Jared's went really, really slow.
Jared also had good movies. We all got to watch 30.
There were 31 movies, and 30 of them were good. Audio listeners, I gave a nice side look at Jake.
Shut up.
I was like, who had the one bad one?
It's not bad. Even you defended it more than we did.
It's icky, but it's
We'll
not
get there.
bad.
We'll get there. So the point of today's episode is after we all talked about our top 10 favorite movies of all time, we're going to do a little postmortem and see...
Postmortem.
Did we kill them? Are the movies dead?
We killed it.
We're going to debrief is what we're going to do.
That's a good way. That's a little bit more of a more professional word to use.
Yeah, we recorded the first episode of this.
Dickey's
in January of 2023. Right now, we have, as of
it's
recording
been over
this,
a
it's
year.
March. It's March. We released the first one in July of 2023, so we have been doing this series for over a year, recording wise, and it's been coming out for the last
first series we had
over
guests
half a
for,
year.
wasn't it?
No.
No, Hammy, yeah, you're right.
Or not the top 10s, but our favorite, yeah.
Yeah. And then we had Alita for
Dimlets.
that.
Yeah, Yeah, so shall we work? Are we going to do my top 10, then each top 10, or are we going to do like all our 10s?
Yeah, so it's going to work. We're going to go movie by movie for each of our top 10s. At the conclusion of each list, we'll make some final thoughts, any changes we made, because when you rewatch, sometimes you'll be like, yeah, I don't think it's a top 10 anymore, or, I changed the order. Something like that. We'll go.
So we'll start off with start with me. And my 10th favorite movie of all time was Knives Out. And guys, I'm glad I made it number 10. I think it's going to stay that way because Knives Out, I think I will give it the title, and I could take this away, but I'm going to give it the title right now, the most rewatchable movie on my list. And I know that's weird putting it at number 10. You would think it would be at number 1.
No, I am looking at your list.
You think the most rewatchable would be anything like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, like any of the Star Wars movies I picked, anything like that. No, I think Knives Out.
Plural movies, because there's 2.
Yes, that's why I said 2. That's why I said
I know.
movies. But Knives Out, I just think the pace and editing of that whodunit is so.
It's a howdunit. We know who done it halfway through the movie. It's a howdunit.
Not even halfway through the movie.
It's
like in the opening 45 minutes.
Well, the movie itself isn't that long though, isn't it? It's just 2 hours.
Yeah, so that's about near the halfway part. So
Yeah.
halfway through the movie, we know who did it. We just don't know how done it.
And it's a fun ride through and through. I love all the characters. I love seeing Ana de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis. I love seeing Chris Evans. I love seeing all of them just having fun with their characters and having fun with their roles. And I've said this before back when I recorded this episode, is you can sense. There have been stories that came out after filming this that it was a good time on set. Everyone was enjoying themselves. Everyone was having a good time. It was a star-studded cast, so it was fun to hang out with everyone. And you can sense that energy. You can really just feel that everything was flowing perfectly on set, and it's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. I don't think there's anything else that I could possibly think about changing of Knives Out, and that's why I think it stays a 10.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I think I said it in the episode. I never knew that if you took the plastic sleeve off and put it on the back, it points to Chris Evans.
Spoilers, but yeah.
I also, like I've said before, I really liked the movie. I enjoy the autumn vibes. I clicked more with it. Did it come out before Glass Onion?
Yeah.
Or sorry, did our episode? You're right. That is not what I meant.
Kind of had to come out.
Did our episode come out before Glass Onion?
No.
So,
wasn't Glass Onion 2022?
When did the episode of this come out?
July of 2023. Yeah, it had to. July of 2023. And Glass Onion's 2022. So yeah, it was after. Yeah, because we talked about both.
Yeah.
In the episode, because I like Glass Onion better.
Oh, you do?
because it's just sillier.
I think,
That's
And
true.
they let him just run free with that
I think-
character.
Yeah.
in thinking about it, after having that episode, I think Glass Onion executes it better. I
It's
still
more
think
of a
that it clicked
whodunit.
better with Knives Out, but I think Glass Onion executes it better.
But they're both are great, and there's gonna be another one.
I know.
If he keeps making, I'm fine with that.
That's the other thing that I love about this. And I also want to give a quick shout out to if nobody's seen Ryan Johnson's TV show on Peacock, it's Poker Face.
You mentioned it in the episode.
Yeah,
too,
I
think.
sure I did.
Are they still making that? I haven't
Yes,
seen any
they-
ads for
They
it.
should be. Because season 1's been over for a while. They're still working on season 2, but it's just like Nice Out. It's a mystery, and I think Ryan Johnson just knows that genre of movies so well. Like
Well, better than he knows some other genres of movies.
Moving on.
Okay, yeah, moving on.
Yeah. What's number 9, Dickie?
So number 9 is The Shining.
The Shinnin.
The
The
You want to get sued?
And I truly, truly believe, looking at it, I think it stays at number 9. It might move up. At some point, I know I'm gonna change. There's a movie that Jared watched that's on his top 10 that needs to make my top 10, but I don't know what else I'd bump out. And I don't know if I'd bump out The Shining.
You should bump out. We'll get there.
We'll get there. But yes, so I genuinely believe
I know
The
what you
Shining-
should bump out.
The Shining stays on my list. It stays at number 9. I'm a horror fiend. I've always been a horror fiend.
fiend.
It's one of the genres that you can be so incredibly creative in. You can really get. I love feeling my blood racing, and The Shining does that better than almost any other movie.
So he loves having heart attacks.
He loves feeling himself.
Okay, you
both,
win.
Both of those are true. What can I say?
Got a regret right
He's
now.
the person. He's
A
the person that
feeling.
brings a water bottle in the Tower of Terror.
I would never do that. I'm not an idiot.
That was terrifying. Terrifying.
Did you talk about that on the podcast?
Yeah, it was a couple episodes ago. I think it was the Casablanca episode because they had a water bottle with them, just like a plastic one you buy. So, but it's like this is.
What was it like again?
Yeah, Shining,
Anyway,
classic, all-time great horror.
That's why it stays on the list. It has to.
Yeah,
This is the second time I've seen it, I think, in 3 years.
something like that.
Right.
I rewatched
Are you
it.
counting the first time you watched it when I loaned it to you in
Yeah.
2017?
Was that really
It was
2017?
a long time ago.
Okay, never mind.
I
I
rewatched
thought it was like
every
2020.
Halloween. Every Halloween I rewatch it. It's worth it. And my number 8 on the list is Midsommar. Midsummer. And
That's the one I think you kick.
you think that's the one I kick?
think that's the
Midsommar?
one. If
We'll
The
get
thing
to
is,
the
I'm
one.
also
We'll
not
get to
going
the
to
one.
listen to you guys when it comes to my top 10. I'm going to make the choice myself.
Oh,
Well,
good. We never
obviously-
listened to you.
but I
I'm simply so really quick, just to get this out in the open. There Will Be Blood. It needs to make it on my list.
I think
And I'm looking at this and I'm trying to think.
I think you got more excited about There Will Be Blood than Midsummer, if I'm being perfectly honest.
But
the thing is,
there's
I
one
still-
coming up that I think you should do the swap for.
I'm not doing it for Sing Street.
That we won't say. We'll get there.
Okay. But anyway,
Yeah,
so
that's
so-
not.
so-
I'm surprised that's not higher on his list. To be honest
that's the
with
thing
you,
is I'm looking at Midsummer being number 8, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's definitely still staying on my list because I think Ari Aster is.
it's a fantastic movie, except for a couple of things that weirded me out. But
Push it to the limit.
push it to the limit.
In it to win it. It's the second time your water bottle's fallen under a chair today. It was under his car seat when he got here.
I'm sorry, Jared just broke my brain when he said that. I can't.
Someone should re-edit the movie. Just take out the sound and put in that Corbin Blue jump in song.
I'm gonna do that. Oh jeez. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Working my way up my list now. I'm trying to put that out of my brain. Is number 7, Inglourious Bastards.
That's the one you should swap for There Will Be Blood.
And that's the one that
I think that's the one that you didn't connect to as much, if I remember correctly.
The thing is, I truly, truly love Inglourious Bastards, and I truly, truly love There Will Be Blood. And I think they both do very similar things. And the reason I love both of them, I love the sense of scale in There Will Be Blood, and I think they do that, and they use like the film techniques really well for that. I connect, but their Inglourious Basterds is literally about them like taking out Hitler in a movie theater, and that's freaking awesome. And so,
it also meanders in like every scene and keeps talking and ever since that movie, all of his movies do that. Where there is so much talking within a scene, and it just keeps going, and it's because he can do it.
Before Django?
Yeah, it was the one right before.
Yeah.
Hateful Eight, it makes sense because it's a bottle movie.
Right.
They're in one location. It's like a play, which it kind of is a whodunit in there too. Whereas others, it's like they just keep talking, and some people love that. Mm-hmm. I don't mind it, but it goes on too long.
And I'm watching because like. I'm watching There Will Be Blood, and I'm thinking, this is a masterpiece. Like, yeah. All right,
I was right. That's the one to swap.
I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, you are.
I'm making this choice myself.
Yeah, you are.
But I think I will, at the end of the day, I'm going to change out my number 7.
We'll get there.
But we'll get there. Yeah. And number 6 for me is Sing Street.
Which I was surprised because in the past it was like number 2.
I am also changing something here.
Yeah.
I'm moving this up. And I think I'm moving this up because...
I thought he was going to say he was taking it off.
No. I have such a personal connection with this movie.
Haters gonna hate. Oh, let's shake it off. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have such a personal connection with this movie. I loved it.
Why did you put it 6th?
I don't know.
For as much as there are good movies in front of it, like you talk about that movie a lot.
Well, so really quick, I'm trying to debate the best thing to do this.
When you talk about movies that are key to who you are, I think that one
is more personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, I think I'm more emotionally connected with Sing Street than I am Empire Strikes Back or Raiders.
Which is saying something.
Lost Ark, but I think Raiders or Empire is like just peak movie making.
Yeah, don't make the list on that though. Make it how, like, this is not a critical list. It's a
Yeah, no, this is what hits me emotionally. So yeah, I am moving up Sing Street. I'll keep working my way up to number 1, but I'll let you guys know right now that my number 6 movie of all time is changing.
Gotcha. But Sing Street is good. Those are good songs.
Yeah. Sing Street is
I like most of the movies that guy has made, I think, because he made one, Sing Street, and there's a third one. Beginning Again. Yep.
And then he has a movie that came out last year that I don't think has been released over here. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, but it has Bono's daughter in it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, John Carney is fantastic. And it's just it's a heartfelt movie that I found just randomly. It's funny because I was just scrolling through on-demand stuff to watch. And I'm like, what's Sing Street? It's Sing Street. And I cried at the end. And I loved it. I cry at everything. And then me and Sam got to tell you, it's one of the first movies we talked about when we first started dating. I was like, wait.
See, there's your personal connection.
Yep,
yeah. There it is.
It was funny because I've heard nobody else knows what this movie is. And when I was talking with her, I'm like, oh yeah, one of my favorites that nobody knows is Sing. She's like, I'm like, you love Sing Street? I love Sing Street. Oh my God, we have to watch Sing Street.
It's meant to be.
Meant to be.
If it's meant to be, it'll be.
Maybe don't be.
Yeah. Baby, just you and me.
So yes, that's my personal connection. It is definitely moving up in my list. And next that I think I will definitely move Sing Street over is number 5, La La Land.
What a good movie.
It is a great movie. I think it's a perfect movie. I think all my movies are perfect movies. I can't have much I would change. But
juxtaposition with the subject who picked the movies perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfect movies and you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm perfect. So.
Yeah, that's what juxtaposition is.
Anyway, yes, no, I think La La Land, and the reason I could connect a lot with La La Land is I recently watched Maestro, and I just think I love artists chasing what they want to do type movies. And I think that La La Land is...
Except La La Land's like a really good movie, and Maestro is fine.
I was waiting for it.
I really enjoyed Maestro.
So did you?
I did too. I mean, I can't wait to put it on in the background in 10 years when I'm like, I need some fodder. Oh, I'll put Maestro in. Oh, that's a good scene. 50 minutes later. Oh, finally, the next good scene.
So I didn't
realize I was going to strike a chord when I say that.
I haven't
strike a chord.
I haven't seen Maestro, but I will agree with it. Like things like Tick Tick Boom, I did enjoy that movie, and I know you didn't care for it that much.
It's fine.
Oh, so then you might like Maestro more than Jared then, probably.
I have no
He
idea.
like-
yeah,
he
if
likes
it's got
Bradley
Bradley Cooper,
Cooper,
there's a
like-
high chance.
Yeah.
And he talks like this whole movie.
It's an interesting.
But I have yet to even
He's
see.
talking like Jake's a little under the weather today, and that's kind of how he's sounding the whole
exactly
movie.
how he sounds.
Can you say, I'm Leonard Bernstein?
say that again?
It's Leonard, right?
Yes.
Say, I'm Leonard Bernstein.
I'm Leonard Bernstein.
Nailed it.
Give him an
That's it.
Oscar.
Anyway, back to La La Land. Or unless you wanted to say.
I was going to say, I still haven't even seen Bradley Cooper's version of A Star Is Born.
Oh, it's so good.
But we're
It's-
talking
but
about
we're talking
No,
about
we're
It's
gonna be
in the case somewhere around
It's
over
somewhere
here.
around
It's
here.
summer. But La La Land. We're not talking about Bradley Cooper. We're doing Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I didn't cry this time because I cried the first 2 times, but then this time it's like the first 2 times solidified. This is one of the most emotional movies for me, and then this recent one solidified like this is just so good. Like I think I liked it more,
Like,
even though I didn't cry.
It's such a powerful message. It's gut wrenching, and at the same time, it's hopeful.
Did
Like, how can you be?
You fought us on that. You're like, I don't see it as sad, and we're going like,
don't.
what? We're like, I find it bittersweet. You're like, I don't. And you're entitled to your opinion. It was just funny. You're just so like bluntly matter of fact. Well, I don't. We're
I
like,
don't.
okay.
I just
That's fair.
it's very hopeful to
It's
me.
life.
It is life, and that's
Without
what
being so melodramatic, yeah.
it touches on like
Melodramatic. Sorry. I just think
I
of the
can't
movie
remember
quote.
though. When did we cover this? When did we record it?
We recorded this as of recording this right now almost a year ago. It was the end of March
this was
last
the
year.
one that I watched during when I had COVID.
I think so. Yeah.
oh,
Okay.
nice.
I got it this time, and I enjoyed that I got it this time. It wasn't just like looking at a movie and saying, "Yeah, this is good." I understood, mostly because my family wasn't talking over the entire
that's
stupid
right.
thing.
That tends to help.
Well, yes, but I appreciate that I got it this time.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, those two are just their chemistry is
And then Ryan Gosling, having another musical come out last year.
with Barbie. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I never thought of Gosling as a singer that much, but he's not bad. He's good enough.
Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
You're good enough.
You're
I'm
good
enough.
enough. But yes, no, I loved him in this, and it just it made me cry every single time I've watched
Everything
it.
makes you cry.
I know, it's good, and I'm that's not moving from my 5. Just saying. But yeah, on to my number 4. We are officially into
Nerd boy.
Star Wars. Line 5.
There you go.
Ah, yeah, Star Wars. This will forever. You guys make fun of me for this. I
Yep.
don't care. It is always in my top 5. It's sometimes the first one makes it into my top 3. Sometimes it moves out, but it's regardless. It is in my
Well,
top
this time
5.
it moved out.
Yeah, this time it moved out.
Except now it's not because, well, you didn't say where you were putting Sing Street. So
I think realistically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Sing Street.
I just put it at 1.
You can wait till
I'm
the
just-
end
yeah.
to make those decisions.
I might wait until the end, but I'm leaning towards Sing
Well, the
Street as
end of
being
your
number
list,
1.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So Star Wars is my number.
It's Star
4.
Wars. It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. It has to be, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else I need to say?
No.
Star Wars needs to
Really?
be in this upper
Yes.
echelon. Of
Moving on.
Moving on. Number 3. We're getting Studio Ghibli up in this. We're doing Howl's Moving Castle. And I say this because I don't have a super emotional attachment, but it kind of.
Yes, you do. I sat next to you while you. Well,
Wait,
the
wait.
bombs
Do
are
that
falling
again.
and
I
people are screaming and Deacon's like, yes! And it's like, oh my gosh.
Wait, do that again. What was the first one?
He was flipping out.
Actually, that's very true. That's the exact noise that I was making while
It
watching.
was.
It was like the
I thought
first,
someone stepped on a mouse or something.
It wasn't my first Studio Ghibli movie that I've ever seen, but it was the first Studio Ghibli movie that I've ever seen in a theater, and it was also the first time I've been able to ever see this movie. And so the first time seeing this movie was in a theater and watching just the movie. Like, I'm trying to pick up one part, but like the whole movie on that screen, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it was life changing. It was like I'm like, oh my god, this is cinema.
It made him want to be an animator.
It made me realize that animated movies are one of the best kinds of movies.
It's the ultimate medium.
It is.
It really is.
Absolutely agree with that. And yeah, Howl's Moving Castle is what changed my mind for that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, We're in my top 2. We're in Dickey's 2. Number
Keep talking.
We're in Dickey's. Oh, boy.
Number 2, my favorite second movie of all time, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Another one that. What else do you say about it?
Again, there's not that much.
It's better than the Dial of Dumb.
Well, I think every. I was almost gonna say I like Crystal
The
Skull
Dentures
more
of
than-
Destiny or whatever people have been calling it.
Dentures of
The
Destiny.
Dentures.
That's a good one. I didn't hear that.
All I know is if you get punched in the face by an 80-year-old man, that's on you.
That's funny, but yeah, like I said, Raiders. That is peak action cinema. It is beautiful to look at. I could watch this movie every day of my life, and I would love it all the more. It is fun. Harrison Ford is the sexiest man alive.
I don't know, man.
Dude, tell me one single actor, male or female, that you think is more attractive than Harrison Ford in the 80s.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
John Candy.
Dan-
That's not a joke. That's not a joke. That man was beautiful.
It was
I'm so sad that he's
Daniel
gone.
Kim.
That's true.
He's good looking too.
He's attractive. That is true. But I'm just saying.
I mean, have you seen him shirtless in the new Avatar show?
I have not. And I can imagine it's
Pretty fire.
Yeah, you got the.
What?
You're right. He is pretty fire.
Pretty
Oh, I missed
fire.
that.
He's pretty fire, Lord.
Pretty fire, Lord.
I think he's more attractive than Daniel Kim, and that is the reason why this is my number 2, is because it is how.
Because Harrison Ford is hot.
Yeah.
That mirror got real smoky too. The funniest part of the movie.
Yeah.
She flips that mirror and he screams. Oh, it gets me.
He immediately just like.
Did you say something? And he's just holding his jaw.
God, it's silly, goofy humor. Knowing me, of course I love silly, goofy humor. It's like well done action. I love action. It's just perfect. But it's not number 1 because you know what's number 1.
Oh, I wonder what it is.
Gee.
Sing Street is number 1. But my other number 1 that I had, Empire Strikes Back. Come on, it has to be. So I don't know what else to say. Empire is peak everything. It's been my childhood. I own a lightsaber now.
It's spiky too and red, so he's a Sith.
It is. And also, you know what we got from this movie?
He's a Sith head.
You know what we got from this movie that I forgot up until this exact moment?
What's that?
Bored? Oh, that's right. Was it like the
Seagulls,
seagulls?
stop it now. You remember that bad lip reading song on
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
You should look it up one of these days.
Regardless, that's
I am
why
not versed in interwebbery.
That's why that's so. At the end of the day, looking at my top 10, Sing Street's taking over number 1.
You think Sing Street's going to number 1?
Yes.
Just instantly.
I think based on the personal connection, it makes
Okay,
sense.
I'm just.
That's 'cause,
Major,
like-
is it from talking to us just now? You're realizing, okay, if I want like truly personal, what makes me feel like this is the embodiment?
I think saying it
of
out
me.
loud changes it for him.
That's what it was. It's like I'm talking through. I'm going over like what.
I don't want to speak for you. Me hearing you talk through like why it's important to you, which is a lot of stuff you didn't really say in the episode.
No.
I never touched it.
No, you didn't.
And
ever
if you
say
did,
anything
it
about
wasn't
this
memorable.
This
Oh,
is one of the first
surprising.
things I connected with Sam, and
Yeah.
it's carried through. And we have, you said we have the vinyl, we have all this, we have all this. We all watch it all the time, or not all the time, but we watch it a lot. Like for me, if I'm you, that has way more of an impact on my life than Empire Strikes Back, which is your childhood. So I would guess that just slots down to number 2.
That's what I was.
But
And you're swapping There Will Be Blood for what?
So yep. At the end of the day, yep. I am swapping There Will Be Blood out of Inglourious Bastards. Jared can take. Well, the thing is, yeah. When we were going back to originally making this, There Will Be Blood definitely crossed in front of my mind. I'm like, I feel like.
I think you had to remove it because it was his.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he claimed-
Because you stole it from me
That's
you're right.
for the PTA
that's why I
video.
that's why I said
the episode.
That's why I said Midsummer, because I think Midsummer is what you originally replaced it with.
Oh. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I love Ari Aster movies more than a.
Isn't La La Land one of those?
No, that's
No?
Damien Chazelle.
No,
He did Beau is Afraid and Hereditary.
Which actually, fun fact about Damien Chazelle, is before 2 or 3 days ago, even though I haven't seen his newest one,
Babylon.
I still haven't seen Babylon.
Which is why it's not like new anymore. It's over a year old now.
Regardless, I still haven't seen it, but I was still claiming in my head that he was my favorite director of all time, Damien Chazelle. And I changed my mind over the weekend.
Oh, this past weekend?
Yes. And can you guess why I changed it over the past weekend? You know what I watched yesterday?
What?
My new favorite, which I'm actually...
His new favorite movie, huh?
None of his movies are on my list. Shit. Denis Villeneuve.
However you say his name. He's your favorite director.
He's my favorite director, and I just realized none of his movies are on my list.
He's got my favorite Thanksgiving movie.
Prisoners is kind of...
I have not seen a
crap,
bad movie.
How did I just realized that I'm just naming him my favorite director and he's not on my list.
I mean, it was the other day.
Yeah.
So it's not like it should be this. It's like literally you just came to this realization.
I did, but yeah. So I just wanted to drop some information that he's not my new favorite director.
Yeah. So one final thought for your list.
Yes.
When talking about Denny, what movie would you pick to put in your top 10 if you had? You don't have to pick a spot. Just if you had to pick one of his movies to represent him in your top 10.
I think it's probably going to be.
Is that too much recency bias, though?
That's the issue.
Would it be hilarious if you pick Sicario?
I'm trying to turn off recency bias, but like, and the thing is, why I think he's my favorite director of all time is just because
his sense of scale is astonishing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Just real quick, pick one of his movies that you think would be your favorite of his. Don't count the new one because you just Arrival. All right, that's a good movie.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I it's hard to turn off recency bias because Dune 2 is good God.
We know.
I haven't seen it yet, but
I know.
It's so good. Yeah, so Denis is, he's on the list kind of. So that is my top 10. Now let's move on to the next. Jacob.
Do you want me to cover all of mine?
I mean, I covered all of mine.
But I have 11.
Oh,
yeah.
So you had your.
Okay, so
if you want to be brief and get to your thoughts on the whole list, you can do that too. It's your list.
All right, at my number 11, I got one extra one because it was super special, and we had a super special guest to talk about it because there's really only one way to watch it. The Godfather trilogy, edited to be a single movie in chronological order.
Quote unquote, because there's still one or two like little De Niro scenes in the middle of the movie. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think Drew even said in the episode, like, there's probably like a fade that they couldn't get rid of, so it has to stay there.
Yep.
I go, so why?
So yeah, rewatching again, it just solidifies for me how good the movies are. Someday I will watch them in their theatrical releases. I have not yet. This is just it's attached to so many memories of mine personally that it's a novelty thing. I get that. As a movie, it's not as good as the original trilogy, but it's not supposed to be better. It's just kind of an experiment.
How many times now have you seen it?
This is my third time.
Nice.
And for context, people, if you didn't listen to the episode, it's an honorable mention /11 because originally we had no way to watch it, and then Drew came through for us, so we added it because we did have a way to watch it. So that's why it wasn't on the list, because originally we didn't think we could watch it.
Yes.
Yep. My number 10, Blade Runner.
The Final Cut specifically.
Is that the one we watched?
Yeah,
okay,
I wrote
Final
it down.
Cut. I love the lore around Blade Runner, specifically like the film history lore, like all the different ways people have pieced it together and just the production
versions.
story. The movie, while being kind of slow, as some of us have indicated, it is enthralling for me. I love noir. I love just the vibe. Every time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. It's important to me because it's, a movie that I watched with Drew in college. Yeah, I love Harrison Ford too.
Yeah, you have more young Harrison than that.
Really young Harrison Ford there.
He's wet for most of that movie too. There's just rain everywhere.
Dude, if there's one thing better than young Harrison Ford,
I don't like it. I don't know. I don't like where this is going. Yeah.
He's super young in that too. Like I don't know why
But it's the year after. It's the year after Raiders.
Yeah, he looks so much younger.
He's clean shaven.
Is that it?
That's honestly what it is. Like that little bit of
Scruff.
And then to connect it to Dickey's list,
And he's got the super short haircut. That's the other thing.
the sequel with Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling was directed by Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
Danny,
However
we're
you want to
sorry.
say it.
We're
I know,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Jared likes it better. It is a fantastic movie. I would like to watch 2049, 2048.
Yep. 2049.
2049 again. I haven't since Cedars, and I wasn't not receptive toward it.
Yeah.
At that
I thought,
point.
as of recording this, there was something in an interview where I'm just going to say Denny, since we can't get his last name right, said, like, he never wants to, like, continue someone's universe like that because he felt like he failed, and because it didn't do well at the box office. And my thought, and it was a post. I can't say a tweet anymore. It was a post on X.
Formerly Twitter.
Where the person said, like, someone please tell this man that this film is a masterpiece and he should be proud of it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, didn't Blade Runner itself kind of bomb?
Oh, it's not surprising. It's
Yeah.
a high concept sci-fi movie.
Well, it's
of course
a
it's
high
not.
concept neo-noir sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
like
Slow
it's not gonna
moving.
get a lot of
And
people.
I think we said in the episode, like, 2049 is about how you are not special, and you can't tell that to millennials and Zoomers because they'll get very mad at you. That's why no one went to see it. I go, yes, it's also long and slow.
Yeah,
It's not slow to me, but other people
It's
be like,
not
"Oh,
for
I really want to watch it again. I need to.
It's great.
What's the guy's name? The stand and delivery ever, James Olmos.
That's
Is that right?
Yeah.
I just love him
He's so good in it.
in general, but like this, like I love like just the discussion of because of the unicorn, like, oh, was it real? Is he a Blade Runner? Is he a real person? Like what?
Replicant.
Replicant? Yes, sorry.
He is a Blade Runner.
Yes, he is a Blade Runner, but is he a replicant Blade?
That's been the discussion.
Yeah, and I know that's all over the
and we
place.
asked Drew, he goes, I think he is. I go, well, Drew's smarter than everyone here. So
That's fair.
So that's the answer then.
That is fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Number 9, the thing that kind of ruined my list,
Pretty
or at least
early,
made
too.
me doubt the rest of my list.
That's
Looper.
he went into, for context people, behind the scenes, he went into every single week that we were recording, this man to my right was so scared because Looper broke him. Because it's like, if this early in my list something broke me, what does that say about the rest of them? And I just remember saying, like, I think it's gonna be fine.
I'm pretty sure that Looper was the thing that I replaced The Godfather with.
I think it was.
Because I remember loving Looper in 2012.
Me too.
I really connected to the self-sacrificial narrative. Watching it again, while I like the ending still, the story takes too long and it clunks over itself too much to make the payoff worth sitting through the first bit of the movie.
And the whole concept of it doesn't make sense in the logic of the world. Remember what I said about, like, so they have to off themselves to close the loop. Why? Can't someone else do it? Because if it's you doing yourself in, you'd think there'd be a higher chance of you not being able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely one of those things where the more you think about it, it's hard to, like...
But you don't even have to think about it that hard to get to that. That's the
That
problem.
is one of those things too, though, that you can't question a sci-fi movie too much. No,
Time travel specifically.
I'm not gonna forgive it that, but
Time travel specifically. I wouldn't say sci-fi.
I will say that this was during my Joseph Gordon-Levitt phase.
His 50-50 kick was in there too.
50-50 is fantastic.
It's a good movie. He watched it like
I
10
watched
days
it-
in a row.
I watched 3 days in a row.
Feels the same.
And oddly enough, that's oh no, never mind.
What?
I was gonna say Ryan Johnson was in my 9, and he's in your 10. Other way around. It's my 10, your 9. So it's
Yeah.
Ryan
There's
Johnson.
it's still just in the list.
Yeah.
So that being said, I still love a lot of the camera work in it, a lot of the different film tricks, a lot of the atmosphere of it, like that dry sort of feeling you get in the cornfield and whatnot when he's first gonna shoot Bruce Willis, when he's first closing his lip. Like I enjoy that. It just doesn't add up to much except for that ending, and also Paul Dano's in it, which is kind of he's a secret star of our podcast because we watched a lot of movies with him in it.
Yeah.
And he usually has some pretty bad luck. Gets the
They
crap
never
beat out of
treat him well.
No. I was going to say, too, about Looper, like, there's the option to have all of these different moving pieces all meet at the farm for like a big ending, and instead it just closes off some of those before they get there. It's like, that would have been interesting to have all those guys chasing both of them down, show up at the farm where you have Bruce Willis trying to kill the kid, and then Joe Scarlett tried to get rid of Bruce Willis and save the kid, and then all these guys shooting at both of them, and Emily Blunt's there too. It's like, there's so much there. And then also the kid being superpowered is kind of silly.
Maybe Johnson just couldn't figure out a way to make that work. Like,
Or he's
maybe he just thought people wouldn't question it, because he does do that detective movie shtick. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's not Bloom.
Brick. Benoit Blanc.
Brick. Glass Onion.
I thought he was talking about
Daniel
Day-Lewis. Daniel Craig's character. Go ahead. I thought you were trying to say Benoit Blanc. I go, Blanc. You went Brick. I go, oh.
No, I was trying to say the Brothers Bloom, which is the other one of his movie.
That's the one that I haven't seen.
That's one I haven't seen.
I don't know if that's a detective movie at all. I have it.
It's a heist movie.
I would love it.
Well, I mean, so was Brick, but it was also a detective movie.
Brick, but it wasn't a heist movie. It was more detective.
Oh, you said heist. I thought you said high school. I can't hear very well out of
That's right. Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, Rian Johnson is happy with Looper and is happy with his movies, and that's that. He's way more successful than we.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, he did direct the best Star Wars movie. Oh. Next, at number 8, Fellowship of the Ring.
Extended is what we watched.
Yes. Makes me feel my feels. I saw this with my dad. It's the first time I ever saw someone cosplaying a Hobbit, and I looked at my dad and I said, "Why are they dressed like that? Were they gonna be? Did they know they were gonna be cold in the theater? Why are they wait? Oh, okay, whatever." I just didn't think anything of it, but it started this whole tradition with me and my dad. I tend to, when I was still living with them, I would watch it every Christmas Eve.
It came out around your birthday, right?
All 6 of them, I guess. My friends and I would go see The Hobbit on my birthday, anyways.
I'm so
the
sorry.
Hobbit, yeah.
Pretty desolate, I'd say.
I'm sorry.
Pretty unexpected, you could say, too.
Anyway, what more can you say about that? It's great. It's kind of a hot take that's the best one in the series, but
I don't think it is. I think that's the preferred thing. I mean,
really?
The American Film Institute named it one of the 100 best movies of all time.
I thought people usually go for The Return of the King.
Oh, that's the audience favorite.
Personally,
and that's my favorite. But the first one is what most people claim is the best. There's a lot of people, as we said in the episode, that really like Two Towers.
As I was going to get to.
Which is the weakest one.
See, I really don't like Two
so
Towers.
Much to juggle.
There's so much going on. I think
it's kind of a mess, but there's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
Because when I was watching, I'm like, this is all over the place. The other two are a lot tighter.
Yep.
But it's still really good.
It's fantastic.
But I think the other two are better than Two Towers. Even though Two Towers has a lot of fans now.
I feel like Two Towers is getting more fans nowadays than any other one. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, the reason I don't really like Two Towers is because my sister's boyfriend at the time bought us seats in the front row before they fully reclined, so you had to be like,
that's
one big tree. Tree, I'm no tree, I am an end.
Also, Two Towers is one of the ones where I would say they're all enhanced by the extended version of it.
Yeah.
But I think Two Towers has not the most, but the most poignant.
Yeah.
And one of the dumbest scenes, but
I told you when we first recorded this that I don't think I've ever seen the theatrical cuts.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen...
That's because you're in that generation that's younger than me.
Yeah.
That's all that there is.
Yeah, I just know the extended... at some point in my life, I feel like I need to sit down and watch them theatrically.
I don't even know that I remember what the theatrical cuts look like.
I told you I have that weird thing of I've seen the theatrical a handful of times. I've seen the extended way more, and I could still point at scenes and be like, that's only extended.
That's impressive.
I can still do that. I don't know how. It's just first impression, what you saw first.
But Jared, did you know in the scene?
Here we go. What's next?
He kicked the helmet.
And he actually broke his
Someone is going to have a broken bone at this table.
Are you talking about Viggo Mortensen? He broke his foot. That's why it's such a genuine reaction. Did you know?
What's next, Jake?
Number 7 is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I was very scared.
2013.
Yeah, sorry.
Not the Danny Kaye one. 2 completely different movies.
The first one's a different title, isn't it?
That's the same title.
Oh, okay. This was one of the ones that I was the most scared for because that 2012 to 2015 era for me is very indie-esque, and those can be very hit-or-miss movies, especially Ben Stiller. Is this the first thing he did after Greenberg? I think it might be.
Acting or directing?
Direct. Both, actually, maybe.
Might have been. I know it's one of his first things he's
I thought Greta Gerwig.
His first movie he directed was in the 90s, I think.
Or one of the first. Wait, in the 90s? Did you say the 90s?
Yeah, didn't he direct Reality Bites in like the mid-90s?
I stand corrected.
And then there's also Zoolander and Tropic Thunder before this.
Greenberg was 2010. And
not Ben Still, Ben Stiller.
It was, Greenberg was directed by Noah Baumbach.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and The Cable Guy. That's mid-90s.
Cable Guy. Okay.
Reality Bites is 94.
Ben Stiller, Greta Gerwig. I don't know who Jennifer Jason Leigh is.
You don't know Jennifer Jason Leigh?
Jinx.
That's sad. She's great in The Hateful Eight.
She is so good in The Hateful Eight.
She's so good. She's great in Synecdoche, New York as well. She's been in a lot.
I was going to say, I can't name any movies. It's just, but I know her.
She's in Fargo.
Yeah.
The TV series.
Yep.
I don't see anything that I know.
Wow.
The point of Walter Mitty, though, you
Anyway,
went into
Walter
it scared.
I love Walter Mitty. I was trying to think of what movie I compared it to during our podcast. I couldn't think of it. Actually, it was the other way around. It was Boss Baby. I was comparing Boss Baby to this. And I couldn't think of what movie was I making that comparison. And I finally, reading the list, it finally hit me. It's Walter Mitty because it does that whole escape reality versus what actually is. And it came out at a time I really felt that. I think it's a very good movie. I think it's one of the more it's what Stranger Than Fiction was for Will Ferrell. I think this was for Ben Stiller.
What's the big quote? It's like beautiful things don't need attention drawn to them, or however I'm paraphrasing.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That Sean Penn says in that one scene.
I also connect with it because it's kind of the end of physical media journalism era.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you don't know, that is my major from college is journalism, which I got out of college when that field was dying. So
in that field right now, and it's still dying.
Yeah, yours a little bit slower than what mine was, but
well, that's true.
Yeah, yours is just like slowly sliding a katana or whatever, the little one, not a katana, into its stomach and ripping it. His was just.
Yeah,
it's sad though, because journalism is really cool.
Did you see that they sold the Grand Rapids Press building?
I did.
Yeah, they did.
196. That's
I used to, I'd drive by it, dropping someone off, and I was looking at, yep, there's the press building, and then driving. Now it's like, it's not that anymore. It's weird.
Something else.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. But Walter Mitty is good.
Yeah, Walter Mitty is good.
Glad I had only seen it in theaters with you that first time.
I am happy that it didn't fall, in my opinion. In fact, I think we don't do ratings here really, but I think I rated it higher on Letterboxd this time. I really love it. I really love the score. I really love how playful it is.
Soundtrack's good too.
It's a good soundtrack.
A lot of good songs.
Yeah, they have
the Wake Up Needle Drop is.
Also, Dirty Paws. Love that song in this.
And that shot of him running by all the things. And
that's the Wake Up Needle Drop.
But just that shot in general is just fantastic. Anyway, my number 6, in a similar vein, Stranger Than Fiction,
which someone at this table didn't like that much.
No, that was.
That was you.
Mitty.
No, it was this one.
I wasn't a big fan of Stranger.
You were scared about Walter Mitty, but liked it fine. Yeah. And then
Stranger Than Fiction, it was okay. I remember.
I still stand by that. Yeah, it was okay.
I think it's really good.
I mean, I'm glad you really like it. I just don't.
Here it is. There's that smug. I'm glad you really liked it.
You can like whatever you
want.
Like
whatever you like. No, I sound like
really love
Violet Beauregard's dad would like, you're blowing up like a balloon.
Oh, you're turning violet.
I really love it. Again, it came out in a time when I really felt the main character was my life. Played guitar and learning how to play guitar. Saw
Eating
things.
cookies.
And more movies than one. I really like Maggie Gyllenhaal.
She's good in this.
It's just it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it flows well. I really like the way it's written. I think there are some differences that could have been made to make it a little bit more palatable. But
I hate how Dustin Hoffman eats yogurt in that movie where it's like liquidy yogurt. I was like, ugh. Sorry. That's what I remember from the movie is that nasty looking Greek yogurt.
it wasn't Greek yogurt. It would have been solid if it was Greek yogurt.
Oh well, it was just like pale white. Like, and it's like usually that's just like a Greek yogurt. Like he didn't even put like fruit in it or anything.
It's the best way to do it, man. You gotta go
Just straight up.
Granola.
No, there was nothing in it.
Well, I mean, I just had plain Greek yogurt too. It's good, but
You were saying
Anyway, if you can't tell, I really like that sacrificial narrative.
you like sacrificial narratives. You like characters stepping out of their kind of comfort zone. You like movies about creativity as well. Also, you tend to like, and I'm on the straight too, comedic actors trying drama and being actually good at it. Eternal Sunshine's another
Besides
big one.
The Majestic, too.
And The Majestic.
Because I've never seen Eternal Sunshine.
Man, that's weird,
Oh,
too. I feel
really?
like you would have eaten that up in this era. Even,
Yeah.
It was 04, but I feel like that would be something you'd jump to.
Yeah,
That movie's so good.
Anyway, anything else about Strangers in Fiction?
it's good. Don't look at me like that.
Smug little. What's next?
I think probably my second most basic pick, The Lion King.
1994.
Yeah,
we have to
1994.
clarify.
Make that very
Can't even
clear.
say the animated one. 1994.
Yeah.
The good one.
The one with James Earl Jones. Oh, wait.
Ah.
I just love it. I've seen it. Every time they re-released it in theaters, I've seen it. I have the special edition Blu-rays. I have a ton of Simba plushies. Not in my house anymore, but in like a bag from my room somewhere. A lot of my vivid memories are playing like Lion King toys or whatever.
Did you ever have the video game?
For a second, yeah.
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 There was a. I never played it, but Sam says there was one on the desktop that she played often. That
I know what she's talking. I never played it, but I know
You know
what
the
she's
one?
talking about. Yeah.
It might be the same one.
I wonder
They
if it
ported
is.
that thing like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like, what else do you say about it? It
That's
has
true.
so much more life than the 2019 one.
Ugh. I saw the clip the other day. Someone showed like the big scene after the wildebeest stampede. It's in the new one. It's long live the king, and then It's so funny. It's how bad that is. I just did real quick bring up right at the long live the king, and it's like you see his eyes and like the frame around his eyes goes dark a little bit. That still gets
Well,
me.
it's something interesting to note because you didn't really care for it,
Until the new one came out
Yeah.
and made me realize how good the original
and then
is.
and then rewatching it now, I believe
I was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is so good. I was just sick of everyone talking about it every 5 seconds and saying it's their favorite Disney over and over and over and over and over. And then that new one comes out, and it reminds me, oh, this first one is really good. This new one is awful.
I mean,
I'd
it's
like to also
still.
point
I
out-
still believe it's the pinnacle, one of the pinnacles of animation for Disney.
No,
Easily.
that's a Lion King 1.5. That's the.
got
I said animation, not
He's got you
storytelling.
there. Careful, you don't want to dig yourself a tunnel.
Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel.
Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel.
What was that? Quick before the hyena comes. What?
But other than that, what else is there to say about Lion King? I mean, it's one of those classics.
It really.
It's been around forever, almost 30 years now, right?
30 years
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
It's the same year I was born.
Oh shoot, I thought it was 96 for some reason, but that
No, you keep thinking I was born in 96.
Yep.
I was born in 94. This came out like
96
a couple
is
weeks
Hunchback.
before I was born.
Yep.
30 years.
Wow. Yeah, how old was that, Jared?
Oh. That's my back, by the way.
I just hurt my back the other day, too.
Shut up.
I did.
Oh, you all don't know anything about pain yet.
What's next?
Next is my next basic pick, Jurassic Park. It's on every 90s kid's favorite. I mean, it's
holds up really well.
Pinnacle adventure, science fiction,
horror.
That's what I was gonna say.
Funny, really funny.
A poster child of why special effects should all be done in the dark.
Yes.
No clone childs or Allens.
Alan.
You know, or whatever that sixth movie was. Just good old-fashioned action adventure comedy, horror, fun, drama.
It is everything. There's everything in this movie. It's perfect.
It's got
perfect.
It's got one of the best scores ever made. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still that first moment when you see the Brachiosaurus still takes your breath away. Like even if you're watching it on a TV or the big screen, it's this thing that's grand in scale, and even though it has as media progresses in its sharpness and those flaws become more apparent, it's just a good movie.
The water, the glass shaking when the Tyrannosaurus is coming. Yeah. Chef's kiss.
It's the reason everyone's talked about it for 31 years.
Yeah. And let's not forget about its sister movie, We're Back.
A dinosaur's
Tale.
Story.
I always say tale.
Remember we said that would have been the better title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have made a lot more sense.
I love both those movies. I was a big dinosaur kid.
Hey,
well, that's the dinosaur boom.
You need, if you're a kid, if you're not into dinosaurs for at least a couple years, you're not living your true life. You have to.
I mean, I'm still kind of into dinosaurs now.
That's what I'm saying. Like you at least have to get a couple years under your belt of being into dinosaurs, and then just take it from there.
I remember our bus driver used to have this like point program where we could like be good and get points, and at the end of the week we could get folders, and she had a big stack of Jurassic Park ones.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
I was way into that crap.
Those are the best.
Yeah. Next, number 3. This was a new addition to my list.
That's
I
right.
didn't think about it until like
right before we were like finalizing the list before going forward.
I'd completely forgotten about this. I was just scrolling through Netflix one day and I was like, I forgot about Big Fish. Fantastic.
Thank you for like.
I love it.
One of the reasons this was fun too is I got to see movies I never would have seen before. Thank you for making me watch this, Jake. This was awesome.
There's so many different vibes going on in it. It's got the good Burton. It's got that fantasy of stepping outside into a world that you can't control and trying to work within it. It's just got so many things.
Naked Danny DeVito.
Yes.
Wait, why was he naked?
Because he was the werewolf.
You saw his butt
That's
several times.
Yeah.
He was a werewolf, remember?
I forgot about that.
The scene that was going around on the internet the other day that I was seeing was the whole when he plants all the flowers. It was like, how did you know? They're the favorite flower of my wife. How do you know it would be your wife? And you know that scene, right? Right before what's his name, Roy from The Office beats the crap out of him. Like that old scene I saw people posting the other day. So just so good.
Tim Burton is a.
When Tim Burton is hitting on all cylinders, it's good. When he's not, it's not good.
Yeah.
Anything else I want to say about Big Fish?
This is maybe one of my favorite Burton movies. It's not my favorite. It's still Beetlejuice, but this is.
It's my favorite Burton.
This is up there.
I would say it's probably
Well, it kind of has to be your favorite Burton.
Batman Returns. If we were doing an episode of it and you were picking Big Fish, I would pick Batman Returns. But
yeah, that's not a good one too.
Which is the superior Burton Batman movie.
Yes.
I could see that. Yeah.
So that was number 3.
Here we go.
Next is the next one that we had Drew on for. I had to have Drew on a lot of these just because he was very integral into me liking a lot of these. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. We're recording this after the new show has dropped.
Oh, I forgot
Long
about
after.
that.
Well, long after, yeah. That was in November,
Like
October, something like
It's
that.
October.
I
Sounds like
love
7,
this because it's a
6
piece
months
of
or
media
so.
that I love from my, phase of going out into the movie world and discovering things and discovering just general types of media. Drew turned me on to the book series. Loved the book series. It's a lot of things I connect with. Again, a character fighting against the circumstances that they've been dealt, trying to break out of this little world that they have. Yes, and the bass. Being a bass player, I am a bass player myself. Scott and I have the same bass.
His dream bass.
What?
Your dream bass.
My dream bass, yeah. So Rickenbacker, 4,000. I think mine's a 4 and his is a 3. But yeah, so we have the same bass. I really love this because it is a perfect representation of and if we're talking about favorite directors, I think Edgar Wright would be my favorite director.
Makes sense,
He's not made all of his movies are not the absolute best, like the absolute pinnacle of him, but I think that this is probably it. I think he showed the world that it was possible to make a comic book movie that felt like a comic book.
And a video game movie that felt like a video game.
Yep.
That was good. Well, now it's a little different, but at the time, video games weren't as cinematic overall, is what I've been told.
Yeah.
Now, like, every game is, like, story-driven and cinematic.
Well, and you have your, back when it came out, there were, like, panel versus frame comparisons. They're almost one for one. I really love this. I really love how it's different than the books. It ends the same way as the book, but how you get there is different. I love that it can stand on its own. I love the cast. Oh, it's just got so many of my favorite people in it.
Dude, Mary Elizabeth Winstead in this is...
Oh, yeah, Mary Elizabeth
God.
Winstead in everything.
Oh, my gosh.
Michael Cera,
Kieran Culkin.
Mae Whitman.
Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
Whatever
The
the
girl from Parks and
Yeah,
Rec.
what is it?
Aubrey Plaza.
Thank you.
Chris Evans.
Yes, Chris Evans.
Brandon Ruth. Ruth.
I think it's Ruth. I don't know.
The vegan guy.
Yeah.
And we already said Brie Larson, right?
You are no longer, now that you're not a vegan, you must vegan. That's not how he says it, but
It's the best line still. Milk and eggs, bitch. It's still the best line. Ha. Yeah.
let's not forget young Neil,
You know,
Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, I love him.
We just keep going on this cast. And the
it's-
show,
it's
show, as we
show-
both know, is so good.
I
The
know,
show-
see, I still gotta watch it.
It's-
one of my things
It's
about
like
the
four.
show.
What is it? 4 real quick. 4 hours in total, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It's like 8,
Oh,
20
that's
some minute
okay,
episodes.
yeah.
I watched it in one sitting. It's so good. Please watch it. You were saying.
What I love about, I'm not going to spoil anything in the show. What I love about each of the 3 different pieces of this is that they can all stand on their own as a separate narrative. They are not trying to mimic each other in almost any capacity other than overarching, like, ish story.
Yeah. Well, the movie and the books are going to be similar because it's a direct adaptation. Just you have to cut and condense to make it a movie. Whereas the show is like its own. Like
Its own
you
thing.
get to pretty early on. It does something different, and I remember I knew something different was coming because it's like recapping. Like, yep, this is Scott Pilgrim, and then something happened, and I leaned forward. You know, the meme of the video game.
No, like
I like
literally,
leaned forward. I was
it's
like, what? I'm on board, and then after that, it's just like so invested.
I don't think you watched it too far after when I started it because I called you immediately and I was like, "This is insane. This I can't even."
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah,
It's good, and it's all the voice cast from the
Yeah.
movie.
which they said Edgar Wright emailed them in that old email chain from back in the days like, who wants to do this? And he said within an hour, just about all of them had responded saying yes. It's like
awesome.
that's
I think that just speaks to the kind of like creative person that he is.
I want to pinch his cheeks on his face. Just because he's got this like adorable little smile, I just want to kind of, ooh. Sorry. If you're watching Edgar Wright, can I pinch your cheeks on your face?
So anything else we want to say about it? It's
No.
got a fantastic soundtrack. It's one of the best.
Bangers.
Got one of the best. One of my favorite bands that does make a return in the show.
That's right. It's metric,
kind of
right?
a funny joke when they do it, but it's hilarious and it's wonderful.
Yeah, Brie Larson singing.
Oh yeah, Brie Larson too. Yeah, Brie Larson is Envy Adams. Can't get around that. I love the animation. It really makes me want to try that painting on film sort of thing.
Cool, try that.
Other than that, I just really love the movie. Drew exposed me to it, so he got to be here in the episode. I think that was the last one he was on.
Yep.
Yeah.
That Blade Runner and Godfather. That was, okay, that's right. So my number one movie, I was terrified that I wasn't going to like my number one movie.
For one
absolutely terrified. For a couple of very big reasons.
But we know the big one, yeah. We spent an hour talking about it.
Yeah. Just because it's Silver Linings Playbook. And I loved the movie when I saw it in 2012. And I loved it when I saw it in 2013. I haven't seen it since, I think, 2013. For a long time, it made me feel so vulnerable that I didn't want to watch it with my girlfriend. At the time, now wife. Just because I didn't want to be in that emotional state around her. And I didn't want it to have some kind of impact on her. So, going back and watching, I was very scared. Also, Jennifer Lawrence is in it. I have had a bit of a turnaround on Jennifer Lawrence.
A bit?
Yeah, turncoat Moerdyke.
Mostly due to his influence.
That's his last name, by the way. I wasn't saying a word I'm not supposed to say.
It doesn't matter. Xbox Live will flag you
I was going to say.
It's okay. I can't do it.
What'd you say? The Harry Potter one wouldn't let you? I'm like, I don't know. I feel like out of all the properties, that'd be the one that would let you. But we don't need to get into that.
The good news is, I still really love it. I think this is Jennifer Lawrence's best performance, especially when you compare it to things like No Hard Feelings and...
Still have to see that.
Don't.
No? I've heard a lot of people like it. I've heard a lot of people have enjoyed it.
Yeah, a lot of people are also stupid.
I was going to say, let's consider the people that you would hear that from.
It's got like a pretty score on Rotten Tomatoes. Go.
Do you actually follow that for what you know is going to be a good movie?
Sometimes.
You don't just listen to people talk about it, you just go, what is the score?
I mean, sometimes I'm curious.
I'm curious about the score sometimes. What are people saying? I'm going to make the decision on if I want to see this or not.
Well, obviously you can make.
I used to follow Rotten Tomatoes a lot more in the 2012 to 2015 era.
You also used to like Jennifer Lawrence, and then he saw the light.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Because what's the quote about Jennifer Lawrence?
This would be a really powerful character if she didn't act with the rage of an emotionally dead fish. The emotional range of a dead fish.
It wasn't even dead fish the first time. She is the emotional range of a fish.
I remember that.
Yeah. A good performance, in the most part, that is easily the weakest part of the movie, that brings it down, because everyone else is on their A+ game. Especially Bradley Cooper. It's his best performance. Yeah. Easily.
And I think you finally came around as to why I love that movie so much.
Because it's your family.
Yeah.
No Hard Feelings is I just got it. It has a 70%.
That is not a deserved 70%. That's a bunch of nostalgic people looking at that going, oh, this feels like 2002. I love it.
An audience score is an 87.
Dickey would think 70% is a good score, wouldn't you?
It is a good score.
It's better than Man of Steel.
I mean, that means
I'd rather watch Man of Steel.
It means the majority of people that walked out of it liked it. So that's a good score.
I mean, technically 51% would be a good score, but that's apparently rotten according to ye hallowed Rotten Tomatoes, according to you.
Not to objectify her or anything, but you do get to see Jennifer Lawrence.
I know there's a lot.
Unsheathed.
I could also not watch it and just not see Jennifer Lawrence at all.
I know how
I
know how you hate her.
I don't hate her.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So other than Looper, is anything else changing in your top 10?
Yeah.
Oh. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. I haven't really thought about changing any others because I have a lot of love for all of these. I take Looper out, and there's a couple that I would...
What are the couple?
There's a couple that I kind of remiss not having it. I don't know where I'd put them.
What's the big one? You already told me what the big one is.
No. I haven't told you the big bombshell.
Oh.
You're not going to like it.
I'm not going to like it.
So
Oh,
excited.
no.
You're not going to
Drop
like
the
it.
bomb.
You're not going to like it because it's going to make me seem like Dickey.
Jake dropped the bomb. I want to know what the bomb is.
So I would replace Looper with Life of Pi is a good contender.
Okay. That was what you told me.
That's not the bomb.
Okay.
That's not the bomb. I'm working there, buddy. Life of Pi.
Okay.
If I, another regret that I have not putting it on this list is Coraline. I love Coraline. It's
She's
definitely,
a peach, she's a doll, she's a pantomime.
She is a pantomime.
What are you
Did you know that Young the Giant sings that?
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the stupidest little 45-second track.
And it's so
It's
catchy.
sung by Young the Giant.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Coraline, that's another one that's really shaped me as a style of a person. If that makes sense.
Oh, it does.
Are you saying I have buttons for my eyes?
Yeah, that's exactly it. What's the bomb?
The bomb is I would probably replace Looper with the Fablemans.
All right.
That's a bomb. That makes perfect sense. You love it.
Yeah,
know,
but you don't like it that it's because it's like a 2022
I know
movie.
it's super recent.
I know, man, but I've seen it 3 times.
I thought you were
now.
gonna say like the Lorax.
Oh,
I was
that
gonna be
one,
like,
Ben.
I'd have been like, you didn't even finish because you knew how garbage it was. Finish drinking that before I keep talking because you're gonna spit it everywhere.
I am gonna replace Looper with the first 15 minutes of the Lorax.
Yes.
Woo! Anyway, Fablemans. I know it's recent. I've seen it.
How can you like it? You
I
didn't
know.
see
I
it.
still haven't seen it. I know.
I've watched it 3 times since its release. I've watched it 3 times since theaters, and I just had this giant smile and warm feeling on my face the entire
That
time.
was me watching Dune 2, so like I feel that.
But like this is just better.
You haven't seen Dune 2.
That's true, but it's just better. You know it.
Jed, you've seen
might-
both.
As a feeling movie, you know it.
I mean, one makes you feel very differently than the other.
Yeah.
Any other movies you'd throw into that Looper spot?
No,
The Looper hole.
I think that the one
That was the joke.
I'd put Fablemans in place of Looper and probably Coraline instead of Jurassic Park.
Wow.
That's pretty high up there. Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, there is one that was in your top 10 years ago that we have covered in this series that I was surprised didn't make it, but then you explained it was Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That's because we covered it, right?
Kinda. But because it was a 3-in-1 thing. But we had watched. I'm just saying, like, that was one that you had thrown in there a lot over the years.
Yeah, I do love that. Did I explain to you why I didn't? Because I don't remember why I didn't.
I don't remember either. It was so long ago. We made these lists over a year ago.
I mean, it's so close for me, It's one of those movies that's attached to my dad and watching things with my dad, and it's one that I'll watch after he passes and basically cry.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I think
what's
you
going to
have
happen.
a few on your list that are like that.
Yeah.
No, that's
Happy with your list, though.
yeah. I mean, except for Looper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last but definitely least.
Definitely most boring. I mean, I'm sorry. Your movies are great.
I know.
Except for when we got to Zulu, I was kind of tired.
And also Gettysburg as well. But.
I was invested in Gettysburg.
Do I hear the screams and cryings of a wee babe to my left? There it is. Gettysburg was so long. Oh.
Hey, at least it wasn't a 9-hour movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the one that, you didn't even finish that one.
No, I couldn't.
I woke up too late. I missed my alarm. It's like, oh, brother.
Brother.
Yeah, so
Anyway, Jared,
number 10,
get going.
Singing in the Rain, classic, all-time big musical. Loved it as a kid. Dog would always bark at the opening scene for whatever reason. Didn't bark at anything else in that movie. Just that. There's people all over that movie for some reason. Anyway,
That's how funny. That's so
Great
good.
songs, great musical numbers. Love it. Siblings and I would watch it over and over and over. Just
It's so
and
quotable
so
too.
funny.
It's so quotable. Like I could pull
The
up
Call Me a Cab is great.
a
The
great one here.
Did you see anything as idiotic as me up there on that screen? Like, yeah, how about Lena? That's good. We need to pay to make our stars look as little as ridiculous as possible. No one has that kind of money.
Was that the one that had during one of the big numbers, it went into
Broadway
him and then back
melody,
out,
yep.
and it like changed perspective?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was the shot that made the most impact on me. It probably is one of the more iconic shots. I don't really know.
It's been called the greatest movie musical ever made, and it makes sense why. Yeah, so I'll be pretty quick through these since we talked so long on all of them. Then,
isn't our Gettysburg episode like 3 hours?
Yeah, basically.
Nearly as long as the movie itself.
That's insane.
Yeah, number 9 is
longer than Gettysburg.
Number 9 is Young Frankenstein. Yearly watch, one of the very few things I watch over and over. I've seen it like 16 years in a row or whatever.
That's a lot of years in a row.
Because I watch it on Halloween. And it wasn't even, as I said, it wasn't even like I actively started that right away. It was my friends wanted to watch it one Halloween. Then the next Halloween, one of my friends was like, let's watch that. I'm like, okay. Then every year I've just kept doing it.
It's a perfect yearly watch because it's not that long.
It's not that long.
And he doesn't like Rocky Horror Picture Show, so.
That's another classic rewatch, yeah.
And it's fun. It's super quotable, super funny.
Gene Wilder's amazing.
Again brings up the best way to parody something is to respect the source material and understand it. Mm-hmm. And that's why the movie works as a movie on its own, because there's some legitimately good horror tropes in there.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're making fun of them for being bad. They're making fun of them as an homage because they like what they're parodying. And that's why it's so good. Other than the writing and acting are great. The music and production design and the editing are just so good and accurate to those classic 30s Universal monster movies. And I've seen it so many times, and I still laugh so hard, especially when Gene Wilder's screaming. Senegal! That always gets me the little, sit down, and he sits on the floor, oh no, up here! And that's when he's choking him after the whole, the whole charade scene.
It's perfect. It's absolutely.
Yeah, and that's just, this is one that will stay because I watch it every year. It's my favorite horror movie. It's my second favorite comedy. Like, it's not going anywhere.
It's kind of funny your favorite horror movie is mostly a comedy.
Because horror to me works better as a comedy usually. That's not saying works better like critically. Mm-hmm. I like them better when they're funny because horror movies already are that close to being funny. Look at the first Evil Dead. There's some scary stuff, but it's pretty funny, and that's why the subsequent ones are funny because it's that close to being funny. That's the thing. Like a good horror movie gets close, a bad horror movie crosses that line.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It can still be fun to watch, but horror is, I wouldn't even say hit or miss, very miss for me usually. And something like this, and especially me, I love those classic 30s Universal monster movies. Yeah. Those creep me out more than anything they can make these days. Easily. Yeah. At number 8, we had a special guest. We were remote for that one because of weather.
That was a big snowstorm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. My friend Maggie joined us. Very personal movie for me and him. Just both of us blubbering. I'd seen it. I cried the second time. I'm like, oh, crap. And I look over and tears. Oh, it was such a wonderful moment. Okay, we're both feeling the same way because you always get scared when you show people something and you're reacting that way and they're not. But right on board. Such a good movie. Wim Wenders, one of my favorite directors. As of recording this, I mentioned it in the other episodes. I just saw Perfect Days, and it's so good. He's made another fantastic movie.
You never said the title of this movie.
I said Paris, Texas, didn't I?
You did?
Yeah, I thought I did.
Say it again.
Paris, Texas.
Okay.
I thought I started with that. If I didn't, sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, just one of the best looking movies ever. Thank you for all your hard work, Robbie Mueller. Rest in peace.
Wasn't that was a recent passing, wasn't he?
Well, last couple years, yeah. Yeah, some the iconic monologue scene at the end there, the "I knew these people" speech. You get this. That's so good. It's one of the best written child characters ever. Mm-hmm. Felt like a kid, but was never annoying.
Also
never
acted, not just written as well.
Yeah, just and when your dad is one of the screenwriters, like
Tends to help a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably used to sets and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or just under control, I guess. You know, not going nuts. But yeah, Harry Dean Stanton in that movie is one of the best performances ever. Just so good, so great. Just every time I watch.
Them to go to Paris, Texas, and they never did.
Which I
Yeah,
think
what
is
the
the
heck?
whole point of the.
Yeah.
He has that plot and he'll never use it. Yeah. So, great movie. Then the 7th is Her. This is probably the one out of all of them I was the most scared because I hadn't seen it in so long. The rest, there had been gaps, but I'd seen them a bunch. This one was like, okay, am I going to feel the same way I did when I watched this in 2013 and then again in 2014? And right away, just like when I rewatched Lost in Translation a couple years ago, the opening music and shot, like right away I was sucked in. And it's like, this is a weird bit of nostalgia now because it feels like a relatively new movie, but it's over 10 years old now. And it sucked me right back into where I was when the movie came out, like just recently started college. And like that feeling, and it's one of my favorite music scores ever. Joaquin Phoenix is so good in that movie. One of the best written movies, and I didn't cry, but I was feeling it. I was
Got those tear ducts were activated. They were ready to roll.
Yeah, it felt so good to watch this again and realize I feel more for it than I did.
I feel.
Feelings.
No, I feel. I can feel.
So that was one that was a nice, like, all right, this, not only do I still like this like I did, I like it more.
Yeah, so that's definitely not moving anywhere in your top 10.
No, I'd stay in.
Do you think that'd move up at all or no?
I think it might.
You think
Well,
so?
when I get to the end of it, it's hard, though, because just like your list is like, well, some of us just move things from 7 or whatever to 1, just like that, because he actually talked about it for a second.
Well, that's what you...
Like, oh, this is more personal. Why is this number 1? Like, your realization was beautiful. Because it makes sense. It's like, yeah.
Actually...
That actually makes sense, yeah.
That's
you
a good,
guys
that's
are
a
right.
good pick. That's an interesting, unique favorite movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
So was yours, but...
different reasons.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. 6th is... I took it from Dickey. I'm so glad. Was There Will Be Blood? Because you had picked it. Well, you picked it for PTA.
I did.
On our old video. And then he picked my second favorite. So I had to go with my third favorite, which is still a great movie, just Punch Drunk Love. And he took Phantom Thread. But it's like, There Will Be Blood is absolutely in my top 10. And you are not taking it away from me.
Can it be in my top 10 too, please?
I mean, you can do whatever you want now.
Yeah, now we have the podcast episodes out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just, ever since I watched it at 17, it's like you feel the importance of something and you feel just how good something can be. And it's like, I
didn't know movies could be like this.
You feel intimidated by the amount of talent on display, not just from Daniel Day-Lewis and PTA, but just everyone who is in and worked on that movie created one of the best things ever. Yeah. And that intimidation of like, there's no chance I could ever get close to even being a part of something like this. It's such a, like, not only is it that good, it's like, it's my pick for the best of that decade and one of the best ever. Like, it's a very special thing. It
is like, it's just, I genuinely wish they would. What year did this come out?
2007.
So we still have a ways to go before any kind of anniversary would be here that they put it back on the big screen.
Yeah, that would be great to watch.
Because I would love
2007?
Yeah.
3 years until the 20 year.
20. Okay, maybe they'll put it back on for the 20 because I would love to see it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh,
that'd be cool. It'd be great. Just another one. It starts all the opening stuff with the shining strings playing, and there's like little to no dialogue, and it's just him silver mining. Mm-hmm. That again, him.
Oh, is that what he was mining?
Him breaking his leg is still rough, and then it's
Yeah. I always love when you can do that kind of stuff with no dialogue. That's the best.
Yeah, and I think PJ said if I could make the whole movie like that, I would have. But no one's going to release that, unfortunately.
No, that probably wouldn't make any money. Did this make money when it was originally released?
It's one of those. It was fine, but then once it
win Best Picture?
No Country for Old Men won Best Picture. It
Did it at
won.
least get nominated?
It did get nominated. It got nominated for like 8. It won for he won Best Actor, and then it won cinematography. I think it's Robert Elswit.
I know that this is the first time that I had watched it since 2008, and I got it this time. I didn't quite get it.
Well, you said you were a completely different person.
Well, that and
point in
like
your
I
life.
said, my friends tended to make a joke of it.
It's because it became super quotable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get it, and I laugh at it because not because it's funny, but because it's such good acting. And Paul Dano goes,
Ham, I believe.
goes
is the word you're
ham.
looking
Yeah,
for.
I was gonna say just he keeps up with him. He really does. He should have been nominated.
It's crazy that he wasn't actually. That is actually. Insane.
I think this is the first time I've ever heard that he wasn't actually originally picked for that part.
Yep. Had just a couple days to prepare once they made the decision. Like, okay, he's not just gonna be Paul. He's gonna be Eli as well. It's like, great decision. He's so good. Man, such a great talent.
I love that.
Yet another movie where he gets the crap kicked out of him.
Going to put you in the ground, Eli. Number 5, another Vendors movie, Wings of Desire. It's my favorite Vendors movie. Top half of my list. Another one where it's like, after watching it the first time, you get scared of how you'll watch it later. Watched it with a bunch of friends years later, and I was like, oh, this is even better on the second time. And then this time even better. Like, it just keeps getting better. Love the presentation. Love how someone I follow on Letterboxd recently said, like, starts very loose, very, very ethereal, and it's such a great vibe, and then it slowly morphs into the narrative that the latter half of the movie becomes about the appreciation and like magicalness that is life, even if there are negative things about being mortal. It's like this happiness of feeling and living, and that you get to that wonderful speech by Marion at the end, and you're like, this is so good. Another great looking Vendors
Also, I was
movie.
gonna say, it's beautifully shot.
Yep.
I would say that my only would want for more of that movie is a little bit more context for why when he becomes a human he has the armor. Like, I get why like intellectually, but I think if I'd have seen more of that, I'd have connected it quicker.
Well, there is that shot in the dream of him wearing the armor too. I think it's just one of those, like, the movie is not about explaining how it works. It's just it works.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, like, that's like their only possession. So when he becomes mortal, it's like that's like their way to
Get money.
get started. And as Peter Falk said, you got robbed, you got cheated, or whatever for the price he got for it. Such a great Peter Falk performance. One of my favorite scenes, which Maggie was sorry, I forgot to say Maggie was here for There'll Be Blood. Mm-hmm. Another one that we've both seen together, and then this one we've watched and talked about forever, and just both of us have said one of our favorite scenes is when Peter Falk's getting coffee and he can sense that Damiel is close, and he just says, I can't see you, but I know you're here. I can feel it. You've been hanging around since I got here. I just want to look into your eyes and tell you how good it is to be here. It's such a gregreat scene. And I still have not seen Far Away So Close, which is the sequel, so I don't know how the story ends. One day I own it on Laserdisc, so one day I'll watch it.
I like the way that it ends in this. I don't think it needed a sequel. It's interesting that they made one.
Yeah, well, it literally says to be continued at the end. You're like, what?
That is good. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
but
I thought it was just an artistic, like,
that's kind of what
now go make your own life.
That's kind of what I picked up on too. Yeah, that's what
I love the shots that go from black and white to color and vice versa. Like the tower shot we bring up, the shot where Marion's sitting in the trailer and it does the switch. Oh, it's such a beautiful marriage of like the old look, because like everything in black and white again is like the old French studio look, and then everything in color is much more like contemporary 80s, and it's put together so well, and the cutting, like the editing is so good. Like I think I brought up during the Nick Cave performance where it's like he's thinking to himself, where Castiel he's gonna say, do not sing it, don't tell him you're gonna sing about a girl, I'm gonna sing about a girl, and it's like when it cuts, he's right here, and it's like it looks seamless, and you wonder if there were just the two cameras at once, because even if there were, what if it's not the same take, but it's just put together so well.
That is another movie where the bass player in the first performance has a Rickenbacker as well.
Wow, there you go.
I felt very close
Crime
to the
in
movie.
the City or something, I think is the first band.
I have no idea.
I can't remember. Man,
it was also the first movie I watched in VR. That was
that's right.
an interesting experience.
Very interesting experience.
Great Great movie. Gets me teared up, especially the scene of the guy that kills himself, that jumps off the roof.
Oh,
Just
not expecting that at all. At least that's the first time you watch it.
and he's like, what's the line? Is like, I just don't want it to hurt anymore. And when he jumps, then right before he doesn't Cassio just yells 9, and it's just this guttural delivery of, and you just feel it because he can't do anything about it. So, and that's why I'm curious to see Cassio's side of the story in the much more cynical sequel that everyone says. So, yeah. Then we get to my favorite comedy of all time at number 4, Duck Soup.
Ooh, boy.
This was our history lesson.
Yeah,
This was our history lesson.
This
Honestly,
began our history lesson.
if you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it because Jared gives a lot of great context and a lot of great information.
Jared gave a TED Talk, let me tell you.
He gave a whole ass TED Talk. He really did.
because it literally is early 30s. They need acts to be in these new talkies. The Marx Brothers are big on Broadway and had all that vaudeville experience, and so you craft these movies around their
Netflix
talent.
special.
It was their Netflix.
It's basically like comedy movies for the longest time were mostly gags with thin stories. That's just, you would go to the theater to watch these performers perform.
just screw around.
It's anarchy. And then once you hit the MGM movies, it's way more plot driven and way more classic Hollywood feeling. And while the first couple are really good, it's just not the same as those first 5. Mm-hmm. And those first 5 build to, especially like when you watch them in order, it's like each one has like its own specific thing that is different from the other. And you get to Duck Soup, it's like, okay, there's no romantic subplot that's not connected to the brothers really, or like kind of is. It's just go, go, go. It's barely over an hour. It's nonstop, and it's still relevant today.
It is still relevant today. There's a lot of...
And it's so funny. It's so funny.
Kind of terrifying a little bit if you think about it. This is still real.
Yeah, but if anything, it'll make it live on. And
100%.
It is a very popular movie for film people and comedy fans like that. Like, you ask some, random person who's not a big movie person, they've never heard of it. But within the circles that it's known, it's really well known. And it's been a favorite for a long time, and I still laugh every time.
It's in film classes, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Probably some, because it's short and it's accessible for the most part. Mm-hmm. So that's all I'll say about it. I spent over 90 minutes talking about it last time, so that's what I'll say.
You did.
Yeah. Then we get to a movie that's just a little bit longer.
Just a little
4.5
bit.
hours for the director's cut. Gettysburg. A movie that I spent a lot of those 2 hours unpacking why I liked it and having to defend myself a bit because...
You knew that going into it.
It's hard because you watch it as a kid. I watched it as a kid.
Look at this
And I love it. And I still love it. But when you recognize more things, it's like, okay, I have to explain myself and also explain... The execution of what they're going for isn't as good as it could be. I think it's a fantastic film. I do think they don't push back hard enough on plenty of things, and it has led to some negative consequences in the real world, and that's unfortunate. That's what makes me feel bad. I still love it.
It also led to a very negative sequel.
Yeah, which apparently differs from the source material.
You mean reality?
But it's just like my number 1 movie presents the history mostly like it is, and that's what I appreciate.
I think that one of the key things, I'm gonna put words in your mouth here. I think one of the key things that you need to remember is that one of the reasons this is so high on your list is because you watch it with your dad. Like, it's not just because you watched it as a kid; it's because you have a core memory with your dad.
Yeah, because
same. Go ahead.
Multiple.
I didn't mean to jump over you, but if anybody else is watching this when they're a kid, I'm watching this. I'm like, I'm walking out the door within 5 minutes. I'm like with a parent connecting it over.
You should have seen. I mean, I'm sure I said this in the episode, but you should have seen his dad prance in here when I put that special edition on the table, like it was like a kid. Like it made him legitimately excited, and that made you legitimately excited, and that's why it's number 3.
Yeah, and it's a historian's movie. If you're a big history nut and you like learning about Civil War, it's perfect for you. It's a perfect history lesson. And if you're not into it, I can totally see why it's not your thing. It's also very long.
Very long.
And yet, I think it flies by for me. I've seen it probably 20 times.
It did not fly by for me.
I'm glad it flies by for you.
We got to the charge, and I was like, okay, we have about 20 minutes left, right? Nope, there's an hour and a half left.
Oh, boy.
Some great performances, especially Jeff Daniels. Speech at the beginning is top tier movie
Hey,
speech.
that's another connection between our movies.
Looper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my favorite film score of all time took me until a couple years ago to realize, oh, this is entirely a synth. Like everything except like the guitar and maybe some percussion is like all.
You mean they had guitars during the Civil War?
That was when you said that, I go, oh man, that was so good.
I literally thought that during the movie for like a hot second. I was like, why is he playing a guitar? Okay.
No.
Yeah, but and again, we talked for 2 hours through that. A lot to unpack. Still love it. Not everyone's cup of tea. I understand why. So number 2, do not make a joke. Number 2,
Blanca.
Yep, Casablanca, one of the all-time great movies.
Yeah.
You know, classic Hollywood epitome.
Oh,
Like just everyone knows, everyone talks about it. Shown in film classes, one of the most revered, prestigious movies ever made. I can just keep rewatching it. Such a just a great watching experience. Not too long, perfect length, perfectly paced, best screenplay ever. Yeah, just there's so much to talk about, and yet not a lot to talk about because everyone's talked about it. But you want to talk about it, but everyone's already said everything. But there was a prop I didn't bring for the episode because I forgot.
Bum, bum.
So today,
Scandalous! Oh my God! Yes.
Please tell me it's a fedora.
So a couple
really hope
Christmases
it's a
ago,
fedora.
a couple Christmases ago, my mother got me this, and I was beyond surprised. I never would have saw this coming, and I would like to say that this is one of my favorite gifts ever. My mother made me Casablanca pillowcases.
Oh my God!
And I use them every night.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
Yep, I actually just watched this the other day. Too.
Oh my God!
Yep. So you got like the part of the Africa map, and
You
you
guys,
got
please tune
you
into
got
YouTube.
you got the poster with them. I think it's
What's
right
the
there.
other side look like? The other
It's
side
the
looks
same
like it has
thing.
more on it.
It's the same thing, but you
Okay.
got
My
you
God.
got Ilsa and Rick, and it says Casablanca, and then you got like the palm trees and the desert, like, and then she put like this night because she didn't like make this she ordered.
Yeah.
But then like she put the edge on there, like that, like because she's a big sewing nut, really good, and makes something just about every year for Christmas. So I'm thinking, okay, they're getting it's pillow covers, pillowcases, whatever. I wonder what I got. I'm thinking like because she's done sports usually, or like
Okay,
SpongeBob
so-
or something.
Yeah,
And then she pulls this out like, where in the world did you get that? And she is like, I was just searching around. I knew you loved it, and that's why I got. It's one of the best Christmas gifts I've ever got.
That's
I
awesome.
think it was the same year my sister made like her version of like a Funko Pop of me.
Oh my God!
Like-
I want to see this.
It's like it's the full. The head's not as big, but
Aw.
it's got my work uniform with the little. And I have my headphones in my hands. And there's like there's like a is it like a
Well,
movie
these ones, they don't
slate?
fit on your head.
It's in my room. That was like 3-4 years ago now. Like those two in 1 year was like because I'm not a big Christmas person, but that moment I was like, these are two of the best gifts I've ever gotten because I had no idea I was getting it. And then getting this pillowcase, I was like, Mom, hats off to you. You always make great stuff, but this was like you outdid yourself.
That's awesome.
So
Hell yeah.
and there's a Marx Brothers prop I could have brought, but couldn't fit it in the bag. I have a fleece blanket of duck soup,
Ooh.
but I don't know where it is because I can never get to use it. But I still have it.
I guess that really is soup keeping you warm.
Oof.
But
So on that note, so Casablanca is also one of Drew's favorite movies.
Oh yeah, he hasn't told me any of this.
There's
Usually
a
we
bit
talk.
of commentary
but-
that Drew has given me post our episode, and I want one of them is a correction, and
Who
I
messed
just want to
up?
make that clear.
I messed up.
No, I messed up. When I was
okay.
reading about the episodes, I remember it stars this person. I said inter alia. I think his phone corrected.
That's right. Yeah.
Inter alia is etc., but in legal terms.
Gotcha.
that's funny as hell. I didn't even notice that.
See, again, this person is one of the smartest people I've ever met. So he
He is
just
the
drops
smartest
that
person
so
I ever
casually, and us are like, huh?
He was like, huh?
And he did see the screening of it,
Yeah,
and still, I mean, the movie's gonna be the same. But how was the experience? Did he tell you?
he did not. He did not say anything really.
Man, that just sounds like so much fun. That's the other thing. I'm so bad at rewatching movies right after, like not like the day after, but like in general, it takes years sometimes to rewatch unless it's a Young Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. Watching these now, it's like I would watch this relatively like soon after. Like it's
like
just
tonight, he's gonna go home and watch Casablanca.
Maybe not
I might
tonight.
know a movie that he's about to watch. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean etc. It means among other things. Which, if I think about it,
That's
Drew
kind
said
of what etc. means, right? Kind of ish.
But which, if I think about it now, Drew says that a lot, so I should have known. But
you let us down.
I did.
You're the interpreter.
I did.
Way to go, Jake.
But anyway, the I don't know if this is a bombshell for you because you research your movies a lot. It completely shook me. One of my favorite movies, we were talking about, you can't remake Casablanca because it's untouchable. Well, one of my favorite movies-ish from like early, like when I first started like getting into watching movies in like 2000 and 2001. Wow, that really dates me. There's a movie with Zach Galifianakis in it called Out Cold.
Sounds familiar.
Never heard of it.
It's a snowboarding
I know
movie.
what you're talking about.
It
I've
is
never
a
seen it, but I know what you're talking
It
about.
is a remake of Casablanca.
It's a remake of Casablanca.
It is a loose remake of Casablanca. There is a scene that is basically there are at least two scenes. One with Zach Galifianakis and one with the main actor. One where Zach Galifianakis, the actress in the movie, is trying to get Zach Galifianakis to play. I have the clip here. I'll show it to you later. She's trying to get him to play a song on the jukebox, and they have the same interaction. What's his name?
Oh,
What's the piano player's name, Jared?
Sam.
And oh gosh,
Jason London is the main actor of Out Cold.
But yeah, that blew my mind.
I mean, I feel like you could try to remake it. I'm not saying it'd be good, but
I mean, they did try to remake it with, what was it, Ashton Kutcher?
And Madonna.
Anyway, that was my big bombshell from Drew. That just my response to him was, "Oh my rickety crickets." I can say that because I was
just about to say. But yeah. And number one,
here we go.
As we heard last week, Zulu. It's always been my favorite. Will continue to be my favorite. Again, another one where my dad just gets giddy. Talking big historical thing. You do have to unpack it a bit. Not as much as Gettysburg, but people misinterpret the movie.
Can you imagine if he was... Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
What were you going to say?
Can you imagine if he was ever able to go to the site of
That'd be really cool.
that battle?
Really expensive to go over there, but really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it doesn't require as much unpacking, but people misinterpret it, and it's not the most progressive thing in the world. It's a 60s British war movie. But it's aged better than most of its contemporaries because of how it handles things.
Yep.
And I think it handles it really well.
That is something I realized, that maybe I said it in the podcast, was I think that's something I noticed about those 60s-ish era. They're much less about pushing a narrative and more about just showcasing the battle. Yeah. Like The Longest Day, stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's what I really appreciate. Another one of my favorite film scores. Michael Caine's performance is really good.
Oh, the eyeshadow.
The eyeshadow we brought up a lot. Yep.
He's looking very flamboyant.
And then one of the best character arcs in the movie, just that pompous, rather you'd ask next time, old boy, to him literally trading his saber for a rifle at that scene, and becomes one of the key reasons they survived. And you get to that moment again at the end where it's not this big celebratory we won, they're all just tired and breathing and glad to be alive.
Yeah.
And then that conversation you brought up where it's like, is this how it always feels? How do you feel? Sick? You have to be alive to feel sick.
Yep.
So
that was the big point of the movie for me.
Very real, very just based in reality. It's not.
Yeah.
All I came here to do was build a bridge.
Yep. Yeah. So a lot to unpack. We talked for almost 2 hours. I talked for almost 2 hours.
I was gonna say, I think that's the one where I looked over at Dickey and I was like, Jared, I'm interested. You gotta wrap this up, otherwise we're losing Dickey. We are losing Dickey.
Yeah, and that's all I have to say about it here. It's gonna stay number one.
Nothing's
It's
ever
just
gonna change.
nothing's gonna bump it. Going into as the list as a whole, going into it, I thought Casablanca would drop because I hadn't seen it in a while, and that negative reaction to it when I watched with David. He didn't do anything wrong. He just didn't like it that much, and that kind of like, oh, is it? It kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't watched it since then. Watching it again, it's like, no, it's still number 2. You gonna laugh?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I'm not laughing.
Gettysburg
It
stays.
is definitely not
stays.
number 2, but it is your number 2.
Yeah. I think Her moves up
Ooh.
past There Will Be Blood. I don't think it moves up higher than that. I just think
Interesting.
for how much I love There Will Be Blood, Her gets to me super personally. Super personally. Paris, Texas is actually the newest one on the list. It wasn't in the top 10 till a couple years ago. It's just seeped in there slowly, just went up the list to get in there. Young Frankenstein stays. I would say I'm not going to change anything now, but next time I rank, whenever that is, Singing in the Rain might get bumped out.
Wow.
And not for any reason other than because I was thinking about things, and then today, like how I was talking to you about Sing Street, like that's more personal. I think Hunchback of Notre Dame, Disney's version, would be in number 10 because for how much I love it. Favorite animated movie of all time. One of my favorite musicals. Has some of my favorite songs. It's like that's way more personal than Singing in the Rain. That would probably make the list.
Let me tell you. We've known each other for a lot of years.
Long time.
A couple of things that have surprised me about this list. Hunchback's not on there. Like you always say, oh, it's number 11. It's just outside. Or you say it's animated. That's a different list. But with how much you talk about it, man, like,
oh yeah,
I just think it deserves a spot there. The other thing is Lost in Translation.
used to be in the top 10.
I know.
Yeah.
I the amount and fervency with which you talk about that movie, I think.
It was a huge emotional turning point because, again, I watched it at the same night as There Will Be Blood for the first time. 17 years old. As I've aged, it isn't the same. I love it. It's still great. It doesn't hit me the same like it used to. I watched it at a bad time the last time I watched it. I was not in a good mood, and I watched it, and I loved it, but it was like, yeah, now I'm sadder. But that's one where the opening skyline of, like, Tokyo and, like, I can't remember if it was, like, late at night or early in the morning, and the music kicks in and the Lost in Translation fades, I go, I'm in. It's on that big top 100 list I make. It's in the upper half. It's just not in the top 10 anymore. That was in the top 10 for all. The original Planet of the Apes was in the top 10 for the longest time.
Really?
Cuckoo's Nest was in there for a while. Eternal Sunshine was in there for a bit. Like, we go way back. King's Speech, like I said, was in there for a second.
I like that movie. I don't know why everybody seems to not like it now.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's like just... There have been all kinds of movies in that top 10, but Zulu and Gettysburg are the two that have been in there for a long time. And the rest of these have just kind of solidified their place. The youngest movie on here is 11 years old. So it's like, it's not like anything on here is super recent. So,
I think I now have the most recent one, if you take into account my...
Actually,
Dickey's average goes a little bit down because he's switching an 09 for an 07. Barely. But I think you're still the most recent.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just had a 2022 movie as my 9th favorite movie.
Oh, that's going to hurt you.
There's nothing wrong
and then,
with having newer movies.
But also, if you put Life of Pi in there, that's
like...
still...
What?
If you put Life of Pi in Looper's spot, isn't it?
It's
It's the same year. I thought it was a year different for a second. Either way, though.
I love Life of Pi, but The Fabelmans just has my heart.
Yeah. And that's what I got to say about my list. I'd make one change... Like one change. Everything else is mostly staying the same. It's getting to that point in my life where you stop watching your big favorites because you just become that movie watcher you're probably going to be for a while, if not forever. Mm-hmm. You never know what can change, but you've hit that point where it's like, yeah, these are kind of not going to move for a bit.
Until you watch that one new movie where like, that one hits you hard. But who knows when that could happen.
Yeah, because another movie that I could throw in there
10 years,
is...
Everything Everywhere might be in his top 10.
Yeah. I don't think that will be my top 10.
No.
I really like it, but like that's not even my favorite movie from that year.
What is your favorite movie?
I like The Fabelmans better than Everything Everywhere. And like Perfect Days is my favorite movie, tied for my favorite movie from last year with Holdovers. Those two could make it onto my top 100 list. It's just a little too recent.
What about something like Banshees of Inisherin? I guess you like The Fabelmans probably better than that.
Yeah. Last year was a good year. This
was
year
a good
year.
It sits a lot better than when I first saw it. I first watched it, I'm like, oh, that's it? And now I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, oh,
The more you think about it, the better it gets.
Yeah.
Real quick, one other movie that is like Hunchback would take that spot. Another movie that's very close. Two movies that are very close. Sorry, there's Vendors Until the End of the World, which you better be thankful it wasn't my top 2. It's 5 hours long.
I wouldn't care.
I know you wouldn't care, but he would.
I would.
And then the other one is Birdman. I love Birdman.
Birdman's so good.
How much did I talk about Birdman when it came out, Jake?
That's true. I don't.
10 years old now.
I don't connect with that movie like you do, but
It's
man,
a good movie. Michael Keaton in that is so.
Should have won.
I wonder if I think about it differently if I watch it now.
Probably. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while either.
That
It's
was
been
also-
like 7 years since I've watched
It was
it.
also a damn good year. Like
2014 is a good
yeah,
year.
like the Whiplash was also out that year.
Is that
So
the same year as Red
Foxcatcher,
Foxcatcher,
Grand Budapest,
Budapest,
Imitation Game,
yeah,
Boyhood.
yep.
I love all those movies except I haven't seen Grand Budapest in a while.
I'm trying to think what else is that year. I think Song of the Seas that year
Really?
as well. 2014, yeah, I think so.
Anyway, is there anything else about our top 10s that
Yeah,
we want to?
that was our top 10, folks.
Yeah.
If no one has anything to say,
Yeah,
we
alright.
did it.
We
31
watched-
I think
consecutive. Well, this would be 32 consecutive weeks of this like series within a series.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Next week we are having finally Sam's on the podcast after talking about her for several times now. We are going to be doing a special where we're talking about both Mamma Mia movies.
Yep, a 2-in-1 because you really can't split that into 2 different episodes because it's probably I haven't seen the second one. It's probably the same thing.
The second one is somehow even more fun.
Interesting.
It's peak. You know how you were saying Zulu is like your favorite, like Mamma Mia is peak cinema to Sam. So we're about to witness.
Does it have Pierce Brosnan singing?
Yes, it
Is that bad, Jared?
does. It gets
Okay.
better. The second movie.
The
Is
second
better.
movie I hear he's better, but that first movie is some of the worst singing I've ever heard in a movie.
But it's okay because him together with Stellan Skarsgård and
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth, thank you. Are those guys together? They're fantastic. So please tune in next week. We're gonna have some news and we're gonna have that amazing episode.
Yep, so tune in next week for the actual conclusion to the series within a series. This was the cap off of ours to lead into next week.
Yeah, exactly. And next week's a special.
I also am excited to meet the person that has decided to put up with Dickey.
And somehow you've evaded her this long.
It has been a long time. I bet you my wife has met her in like the Target
Somehow.
Starbucks.
But yes, until next week's episode, check us out online on the socials. Jared, where are those socials?
Excuse me. They can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell, and hey, rate us on all those apps and stuff and whatever, and check out our groovy website.
Beautiful. Thank you for listening to it. Like I said, next week's episode is going to be a very fun, spectacular tune-in.
Spectral.
Here we go again.
We'll see you next time.
On my own?
Bye.